Today on the show, we have got 5 breakout running backs for the 2024 NFL season fired up to get into it. To qualify for this list, these breakout running backs must simply have not broken 1,000 total yards in a season in their NFL careers. Very simple parameters here. It can be difficult to find breakout running backs because most of the guys that have great opportunity or great situations, RB1, they've already broken out or they're extremely high draft capital. So had to do some digging here, and I think that we've come up with a very good list, and this is not fantasy advice. This is simply 5 running backs that I think are going to help their team win football games, are going to help their offenses be sustainable and be efficient and effective. And we're going to kick it off here with Devon Achane from the Miami Dolphins. Had a pretty big rookie year, so you could argue he already broke out, but he qualifies for this list based on not having surpassed 1,000 yards during his rookie year. But this guy, even though he's undersized, he plays like a running back. He really does. It's not like one of those running backs you see where it's just like, there's no way this guy's going to survive in the league. He can run with some physicality, some toughness behind him, run behind his pads, but he's got insane speed, great lateral agility, quickness. I think he's going to be a lot more involved in the passing game with Mike McDaniel this year. Anytime you have somebody with this type of talent, with Mike McDaniel trying to scheme things up, I think it's got the potential for a massive breakout. And I think that you've got Raheem Mostert, who obviously is still a good football player, injured a lot, up there in age. You've got some other talented backs in Miami, but I think they're really going to try to focus on utilizing Devon Achane's speed even more than they did in 2023, and I think he's going to have a very big season for the Dolphins. Up next, Zamir White, one of the few running backs who really is kind of the RB1 in his backfield that didn't have high draft capital or hasn't had a breakout already. So looking at the Las Vegas Raiders, I don't like the quarterback situation, and they're a team that I'm really disappointed with in that regard. I like a lot of everything else going on, though. Like, you've got a pretty good offensive line, especially when it comes to the run blocking department. You've got 2 good tight ends that I think getting in that 12 personnel is going to make it difficult for defenses. You've got Devontae Adams still there, who's obviously one of the more talented receivers in the league still. I think Zamir White, who's an incredibly tough runner, he will run through like, you better come correct when you're trying to tackle Zamir White. I think that he has opportunity. I think he has talent. I think he has a decent situation, even though, again, quarterback doesn't make you feel great. But I think Zamir White has a really good chance to break out here in 2024 for the Las Vegas Raiders. Up next, I have Trey Benson. And Trey Benson is not the RB1 in his backfield, certainly. But he is in a backfield that I think is going to run the ball a lot. Arizona, they have James Conner, who has been very underrated throughout his NFL career since leaving Pittsburgh. He's done a good job with the Arizona Cardinals the last few years, and I think he will continue to do so. But I think the Cardinals are going to run the ball a lot. When you look at what they've done up front with their offensive line, with their tight ends, adding a big blocking tight end and Ryman this past draft, and you obviously have Trey McBride as well, I think that the Arizona Cardinals are going to try to have a downhill power rushing attack, and Trey Benson fits in that very well. He has got breakaway speed, very, very tough runner. He will run through tackles. He will break tackles. He will make you miss in the hole. He's developed vision over his time at Florida State. He actually does have some talent as a receiver out of the backfield as well, even though Florida State didn't use him a lot in that regard. And the opportunities he did get, you saw some flashes of some really impressive play. I just think that the 1-2 punch of James Conner and Trey Benson has a chance to be one of the better rushing attacks in football, especially when you combine that with Kyler Murray being fully healthy and obviously Marvin Harrison Jr. entering the fold there. I think they're going to run the ball, rushing attack. They're going to utilize play action. And it's going to be a difficult offense to contend with for a lot of defenses in the NFL. So I like Trey Benson as a breakout candidate in 2024. I also like Tyjae Spears, Tennessee Titans, a team that moved on from Derrick Henry. Unbelievable run that Derrick Henry had in Tennessee, right? Was just one of the best running backs we've ever seen for a long time. Now he gets to go play with Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. I think that Derrick Henry's going to have a lot of fun up there. But Tyjae Spears and Tony Pollard, I know the Titans paid to bring in Pollard, but Tyjae Spears, I think, is actually in a better position based on his his talent and his ability to get the lion's share of the carries in Tennessee. I do think it will be a split backfield, but I think if it's a 1A, 1B situation, I think Tyjae Spears will end up being the 1A, and he is electric. Absolutely electric. He's a tougher runner than Tony Pollard. He's got great hands. I think he'll hang in there in pass pro. I just think he's going to earn more trust from the coaching staff than a Tony Pollard will, who's a talented back in his own right, but he kind of had his opportunity to be a workhorse, and it didn't really go as planned. So I think Tyjae Spears has a great chance in Tennessee with Brian Callahan taking over as OC. They are going to be a pass-first offense in all likelihood, but you also have Bill Callahan kind of trying to get that offensive line moving in the right direction, and there's really no one better than Bill Callahan to get an offensive line up to snuff. So I think that they have a good chance of being a tough rushing attack to stop and a little bit more balance of an offense. Kind of similar to Las Vegas, but a little bit better in terms of the quarterback situation. I'm not really a Will Levis believer. I do think he has the talent, the physical ability, but is he truly going to develop into a quarterback who can really manage the pocket, work through his progressions, and be a pro? I'm not sure. I'm really not. But I do believe in Tyjae Spears. I believe in his talent. Was a big fan of him coming out in the draft a couple years ago. And so I think that he's got a great shot here. I also think Blake Corum for the Los Angeles Rams. Obviously, you have Kyron Williams, who dealt with injuries last year. But this is another team kind of similar to the Cardinals. They want to get downhill. They want to punch you in the mouth. They've got great interior linemen when it comes to run blocking. They've really focused on that the last couple of years. And I think Blake Corum is a perfect fit for this system. He's a guy that runs tough. He can make you miss in the hole. He doesn't have the long speed of some of these other really talented backs in the NFL, but he can do everything else in his game. It's all there. Pass protection, catching the ball out of the backfield, getting every yard that's there. I just love Blake Corum's game, and I think he's a perfect fit for the Los Angeles Rams. So if there's any sort of injury to Kyron Williams, or even if not, I think Blake Corum has a really good chance to, again, help his football team win games. I think that's the biggest thing with these running back breakouts, and the biggest reason why I'm saying this is not fantasy advice. This is running backs that I think are really going to break out in terms of being effective runners for their football team when they get opportunities. I do think Devon Achane and Zamir White will be good for fantasy. When it comes to Trey Benson, Tyjae Spears, Blake Corum, there's a little bit murkier of situations, right? But from a pure football, winning games, having sustainable offense, I think that Trey Benson, Tyjae Spears, and Blake Corum absolutely will help their teams. And I do have one more for you. Little bonus running back breakout. And this was my guy in the 2024 NFL draft at the running back position. Went to a great landing spot, in my opinion. Kamani Vidal out of Troy. He is, stocky. He is diminutive when it comes to his height, about 5'8", 215 to 220 pounds. But at that size, great center of gravity, like fantastic contact balance. He runs through tackles. He's very quick, got great lateral agility, good vision. I think he has impressive speed at his size as well. I think Kamani Vidal, obviously the Chargers, they brought over Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins, right? Two guys from Baltimore. Makes a lot of sense. Jim Harbaugh bringing over two running backs that his brother used to employ, but and obviously two running backs that are somewhat familiar with Greg Roman's offensive system and guys that fit what they're looking for. Tough runners, physical runners. J.K. Dobbins has had trouble staying healthy. Gus Edwards is a good back. I think Kamani Vidal has a chance to overtake both of those guys by the end of the season, injuries or no injuries. And I just think that was a diamond in the rough that they uncovered. He's going to end up being one of these running backs that has a very fruitful career as someone who was not highly valued in the draft. I thought he should have been. Absolutely. I thought he should have been a day 2 pick. So I think Kamani Vidal in that situation has a really good chance. That'll do it for our breakout running backs. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the content, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Y'all have a good one.